Let me tell you something, the difference between those who win big in life and those who stay stuck isn't talent, it's hunger. Talent will get you noticed, but hunger will keep you moving when the lights are off, the applause has faded, and no one's watching. Hunger makes you read when you're tired. Hunger makes you get up earlier than the average person and stay up later than the average dreamer. Hunger will push you to make phone calls when you're nervous, to send proposals when you feel unqualified, to knock on doors that others are too afraid to approach. Talent is a gift, but hunger is a choice. You can be born with extraordinary natural abilities, but without the inner drive to push those abilities forward, they eventually fade into wasted potential. Hunger is that fire inside you that refuses to settle, refuses to accept good enough, and refuses to stop until the goal is met. While talent may give you a head start, hunger is what keeps you running long after others have stopped. It fuels the late nights, the early mornings, and the sacrifices most people aren't willing to make. The world is full of talented people who never fulfilled their potential because they relied solely on their skill. They thought talent alone was enough to carry them through challenges, but when the obstacles came, and they always do, without hunger, they lost momentum. Hunger is what makes you keep going when talent is no longer enough to carry you. It becomes your invisible fuel tank, giving you the energy to push forward when every logical reason says to quit. Talent will get you noticed at the start. People will clap for your gift, admire your skill, and maybe even envy what you can do naturally. But hunger is what keeps you relevant. Hunger will drive you to practice harder, study longer, and work smarter than those who started the race with you. While the naturally gifted may coast on their ability, the hungry are sharpening their skills daily, constantly stretching themselves to improve. Hunger has an edge that talent often lacks. Talent can make you confident, but hunger makes you relentless. It makes you show up even when you don't feel like it. It makes you keep producing results even when no one is applauding. Hunger whispers in your ear that good enough is never enough. It pushes you past comfort zones into new territory, forcing you to grow beyond what you thought possible. When you're hungry, you're never satisfied with yesterday's win. You don't live off old victories because you know there's more to achieve. That hunger drives you to set new goals the moment you reach the old ones. While talent may tempt you to rest on your laurels, hunger keeps you chasing the next level. The difference between a one-time success and a lifelong achiever is how hungry they stay after the applause fades. The thing about hunger is it doesn't need external motivation to keep burning. Talent can become stagnant if it's not constantly challenged, but hunger thrives on challenge. The hungrier you are, the more you embrace obstacles, because each one becomes an opportunity to prove yourself. You see setbacks as a chance to sharpen your skills, to adapt, and to rise higher than before. Hunger doesn't run from the fight, it runs toward it. Hunger outlasts talent because it doesn't depend on conditions being perfect. A talented person might wait for inspiration to strike or for the environment to be favorable. A hungry person moves anyway. They create momentum in the absence of opportunity and find a way to make things happen, no matter how impossible they seem. This adaptability is what keeps hunger burning when talent gets tired. Talent has a limit. Hunger doesn't. You can reach the ceiling of your natural ability, but hunger will make you break through that ceiling by forcing you to learn new skills, adopt new strategies, and reinvent yourself when necessary. Hunger transforms you from someone who is naturally good at something into someone who becomes unstoppable. When others with talent stop to rest, the hungry keep building. They keep practicing, learning, and working on their craft. They understand that while talent may fade if it's not exercised, hunger grows stronger the more it's fed. Each small win fuels the fire, making you even more determined to reach the next milestone. In the long run, talent without hunger loses to hunger without talent, because hunger will acquire the skills, learn the techniques, and master the craft if it means reaching the goal. Hunger turns ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. It turns "I can't" into "I will." It keeps you moving forward long after talent has run out of breath. Comfort is seductive. It whispers to you that you've done enough, that you've earned the right to slow down, that there's no need to push any further. It creates a false sense of security, convincing you that the way things are is the way they should remain. But comfort is dangerous because it quietly robs you of your ambition. It makes you forget the hunger you once had, the risks you were once willing to take, and the mountains you once dreamed of climbing. The moment you settle into comfort, growth begins to slow. Growth requires stretching, and stretching is uncomfortable by nature. You cannot expand your capacity while staying in the same routines, surrounded by the same conditions, doing only what you already know how to do. Comfort will tempt you to repeat the familiar because it's safe. But safety rarely produces transformation. It is in the moments when you step into the unknown that you discover new levels of strength and ability. Comfort can make you a prisoner without you even realizing it. It disguises itself as peace, but what it's really doing is keeping you from venturing into the unknown where the real rewards are. Many people never break free from mediocrity simply because they built a home inside their comfort zone. They tell themselves they're content, but deep down, they've stopped chasing their true potential. When you live in comfort for too long, your tolerance for challenge weakens. The smallest obstacles start to feel overwhelming because you've stopped exercising the muscles that growth demands: resilience, adaptability, and courage. You begin to avoid anything that feels hard, and before you know it, your life becomes a cycle of repetitive, predictable actions. The problem is, nothing extraordinary grows in predictability. The truth is, every major breakthrough you've ever had came from discomfort. Whether it was learning a new skill, starting a business, or overcoming a setback, it required you to step into situations where you weren't fully prepared. Those moments forced you to think differently, act decisively, and rise to challenges you had never faced before. Comfort would have kept you from those opportunities. People often mistake comfort for success. They achieve a certain level of accomplishment, earn a certain income, or reach a certain position, and then they stop. They coast. What they don't realize is that comfort at the top is just as dangerous as comfort at the bottom. The higher you climb, the more tempting it is to protect what you have instead of pursuing what's possible. That protection mindset slowly erodes the drive that got you there in the first place. Growth is born in friction. It comes from putting yourself in situations that challenge your thinking, stretch your skills, and demand more from you than you've given before. Comfort removes that friction. It tells you that the hard work is done, when in reality, the hard work is never truly finished. If you want to keep growing, you have to keep leaning into the discomfort of becoming more than you are today. Comfort makes you settle for good enough when you were created for greatness. It causes you to shrink your vision to match your current reality instead of expanding your reality to match your vision. You stop dreaming big because big dreams require big risks, and risks are uncomfortable. Slowly, without even noticing, you start building walls around your life that keep you from ever seeing what's beyond them. There is nothing wrong with rest, but there is everything wrong with settling. Rest is temporary and intentional. It recharges you for the next push forward. Comfort is permanent and passive. It lulls you into a state where you stop pushing altogether. When comfort becomes your goal, growth is no longer possible. The very nature of growth demands movement, and movement disrupts comfort. The greatest danger of comfort is that it feels harmless. It doesn't confront you loudly. It doesn't announce its presence. It creeps in quietly, making you believe you have time, making you believe you can always start tomorrow. And while you wait, while you stay safe, the opportunities that could have changed your life pass you by. Success can be both a blessing and a trap. It's a blessing because it rewards your hard work, validates your efforts, and shows that the sacrifices you made were worth it. But it's a trap when it lulls you into thinking the journey is over. Many people reach a certain level of success and unconsciously shift from building momentum to simply maintaining it. They stop doing the very things that got them to the top, and slowly, without realizing it, they begin to decline. When you finally achieve a goal you've been chasing for years, there's a powerful sense of satisfaction. That satisfaction can be dangerous if it becomes your final destination. Success is not the finish line. It's just another checkpoint. Staying hungry after success means refusing to treat your victories as an excuse to slow down. It means using them as fuel to aim higher, to dream bigger, and to push yourself into new challenges that stretch your capacity even further. The problem with many high achievers is that they start protecting what they've built instead of expanding it. They become more focused on avoiding loss than on pursuing gain. That defensive mindset kills creativity, innovation, and boldness. When you were hungry, you took risks, tried new approaches, and pushed past your limits. After success, it's easy to start playing it safe, forgetting that safety rarely produces growth. Hunger after success requires humility. You have to be willing to admit that no matter how far you've come, there's still more to learn and more to accomplish. The moment you believe you've arrived is the moment you stop moving forward. True hunger is not satisfied with a single achievement. It constantly seeks the next level of mastery. Success can create comfort, and comfort can be fatal to ambition. You begin to measure yourself only against your past performance instead of against your true potential. This leads to stagnation, where your achievements become a story you tell instead of a lifestyle you live. Staying hungry means refusing to let your biggest wins live in the past. It's about making sure your best days are always ahead of you. Staying hungry after success also requires you to change your definition of winning. Before you reached your goal, success meant hitting a target. Now, it must mean continually setting and hitting new ones. This shift keeps you sharp, focused, and in pursuit of growth. Without it, you risk drifting into complacency, letting your previous accomplishments create a false sense of security. Hunger thrives when you keep challenging yourself with bigger, scarier goals. The same drive that made you wake up early, grind late, and push through obstacles before your first big win must still be present after the win. The stakes may be different, but the principle is the same. Growth comes from striving, not from settling. After success, your hunger has to evolve. In the beginning, it may have been about proving something to yourself or others. Now, it should be about maximizing your full potential and impacting others on a greater scale. The hunger becomes less about survival and more about significance. Creating something that outlasts you, inspires others, and leaves a legacy. You have to guard against the slow erosion of ambition that comes with comfort. Without hunger, success becomes a museum of past victories rather than a living, breathing journey of progress. That's why you must continually put yourself in environments that challenge you, surround yourself with people who expect more from you, and set goals that make you a little nervous. The truth is, staying hungry after success is harder than getting hungry before success. Before, you had something to prove, now you have something to lose. But hunger doesn't fear loss, it fears stagnation. It knows that the moment you stop chasing, you start slipping. When hunger is tied only to need, it fades the moment that need is met. If your drive is fueled solely by the urgency to pay the bills, to escape a difficult situation, or to prove a temporary point, then once you achieve that, the fire begins to cool. Purpose-driven hunger, on the other hand, never dies because it's anchored to something bigger than circumstance. It's not about what you have to do to survive. It's about what you're called to do to make an impact. Need-based hunger is reactive. It pushes you only when life forces you to move. Purpose-based hunger is proactive. It pulls you toward a vision even when life feels comfortable. That's why people who tie their hunger to purpose maintain their drive for decades. They don't stop when the emergency is over because their mission is larger than a moment of desperation. When your hunger is tied to purpose, every achievement becomes a stepping stone instead of a finish line. You don't feel done because you've reached a milestone. You see it as part of the greater journey. You keep going not because you have to, but because you can't imagine doing anything else. That inner compulsion to keep building, creating, and impacting is what separates those who achieve lasting influence from those who fade after one victory. Purpose gives hunger depth. Without purpose, hunger is shallow. It's about getting through the week, hitting the monthly goal, or proving someone wrong. But with purpose, your hunger has layers. It's connected to your values, your identity, and your vision for the future. That's why it remains strong even when conditions change. Money might no longer be an issue, recognition might no longer be a motivator, but purpose will always call you higher. Purpose-driven hunger is also more resilient. When challenges come, need-based hunger can weaken because the difficulty feels overwhelming. But when you're working for something bigger than yourself, you see the obstacles differently. They're no longer reasons to quit, they're tests to refine your commitment. Purpose transforms setbacks into fuel, keeping your hunger alive even in the darkest moments. When hunger is tied to need, it often comes with an expiration date. You'll push hard for as long as the pressure is on, but the moment relief arrives, so does the temptation to slow down. But when hunger is tied to purpose, there's no expiration date because the mission is never complete. Purpose is limitless, and so the hunger it fuels has no boundaries. A hunger tied to purpose is also contagious. People can sense when your drive is about more than personal gain. They're inspired by your consistency, your resilience, and your willingness to push beyond what's required. That kind of hunger attracts opportunities, builds trust, and inspires others to join you in your mission. It becomes bigger than just you, it becomes a movement. Tying hunger to purpose also keeps you grounded. Need-based hunger can sometimes push people towards shortcuts, compromise, or quick wins because the goal is immediate relief. Purpose-based hunger takes the long view. It allows you to make decisions based on integrity and long-term vision, not just temporary satisfaction. That difference in mindset creates stability, sustainability, and greater impact over time. When your hunger is fueled by purpose, even small wins feel significant because you know they contribute to something meaningful. Every action, no matter how minor it seems, moves you closer to fulfilling the reason you exist. That connection between daily effort and lifelong mission keeps your energy high, even when progress feels slow. The shift from need to purpose changes everything. It changes how you see the work, how you handle challenges, how you respond to success, and how long you can sustain the pursuit. It transforms your hunger from a short-term burst into a lifelong fire that doesn't burn out when circumstances improve. Hunger reveals its true value when the path gets difficult. It's easy to stay motivated when the rewards are flowing, when recognition is constant, and when progress is visible. But in hard times, when momentum slows, when effort seems invisible, and when challenges pile up, hunger becomes the deciding factor between those who keep moving and those who give up. It becomes the inner force that refuses to let you stop. Even when every external reason tells you it's pointless, when resources are scarce and support is minimal, hunger takes over where convenience can't. It fuels creativity, resourcefulness, and persistence. Hard times strip away distractions and expose the depth of your commitment. If you're only in the game for the easy wins, you won't last. But if your hunger runs deep, those tough seasons won't scare you off, they'll sharpen you. Hunger in hard times pushes you to find a way when there seems to be no way. It makes you knock on doors that have been closed to you, reach out to people you've never met, and explore opportunities you never considered before. It drives you to think differently, to try unconventional approaches, and to refuse the option of standing still. Without hunger, challenges feel like walls. With hunger, they become puzzles waiting to be solved. Hard times test patience. Progress may slow to a crawl, and it can feel like nothing is working. Hunger keeps you from walking away too soon. It whispers that the slow days still matter, that the effort you're putting in today will pay off later, and that quitting now would waste everything you've already endured. It shifts your focus from immediate comfort to long-term victory. Hunger in difficult seasons also protects your vision. When circumstances are rough, it's easy to lower your goals to match your current reality. Hunger refuses to let you do that. It holds your original vision in front of you and reminds you why you started in the first place. It doesn't let you shrink your dream to fit your struggle. It forces you to stretch your effort to fit your dream. In hard times, many people retreat, they cut back, play it safe, and wait for things to get better. Hunger makes you go the other way. It makes you lean in harder. You work when others are resting, prepare when others are hesitating, and move forward while others are waiting for perfect conditions. This momentum during difficult seasons is often what positions you for breakthroughs when the tide turns. Hunger also keeps you learning during adversity. Without it, challenges just feel like setbacks. With it, challenges become classrooms. You start asking better questions. What can I learn from this? How can I grow through this? What new skills do I need to develop right now? That mindset not only helps you survive the hard times, it ensures you come out of them stronger than when you went in, when the applause is gone, when no one is watching, and when progress isn't visible. Hunger is what gets you out of bed anyway. It becomes less about external validation and more about keeping a promise to yourself. That self-respect builds resilience, and resilience is often the real measure of success in the long run. Hunger in hard times also gives you an advantage most people overlook. It builds endurance. Endurance is not built in easy seasons. It's forged in the grind, in the persistence required to keep going despite the lack of instant results. That endurance becomes your superpower when life tests you again in the future. Every person who has achieved something extraordinary has a story of struggle behind the success. What carried them through was not just skill, resources, or luck. It was hunger. The hunger to keep showing up, to keep swinging, and to keep believing when the odds were against them. That's why the difficult seasons are not the end of your journey. They are the proving ground for the hunger that will carry you to the next level.